up, world? Whispering Out Loud, episode 2. I go by the name of HeadKrack
Anna Marisol7.
Yo, and we're like throwing rocks across the lake, just kind of skipping across, various things that caught our attention, as we go through this like so-called thing called life. How's your week been?
Eh.
Why
It's snowing. It's ugly out here.
Yeah, that's what you get for living in Chicago. That's like people in Florida complaining like, oh man, every now and then God try to take us off the map. It's part of it comes with the territory, literally.
They don't try to take them off the map. They just try to flood them.
Like they did in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like apparently at some point in time, like there's people wilding. You know what I mean? Like guys, like, yo, we gonna flood the whole block. You know what I mean? And make y'all move around.
Some make an attempt to build an arch too.
Yeah. Did you say an arc or an arch?
I think I said arch.
Yeah, like, so when the chicks poke their back out, or like half of the McDonald's logo. Like what are you
how do
talking
you
about?
Say it? It's an arc.
Arc, yeah.
I have an accent.
Yeah, man, not mad at it, man. Cactus, welcome. And welcome. And big shout out to everybody who tapped into episode 1, and maybe the people who are seeing this episode. Just know that there's an episode that precedes this. We didn't start with 2. That's weird.
No, we didn't.
Word, but one thing that I was noticing, right? As I go through this whole life experience, have you ever felt like the kids just kind of just get softer and softer with each generation? And I say that with a double-sided meaning, right? Like, there are some stone cold killers outside right now. I mean, you should know this very well living in Chicago, but
don't fuck up, please, because your city isn't doing any better.
If there was a crime Olympics, and you had to put the people of Atlanta, like the young Ute of Atlanta versus the young Ute versus the ones in Chicago, my money's on Chicago.
It'd be like the Super Bowl. That would be cool. No,
not so much.
I'm just saying, like, when you have to think about ideas on what to do with like the problem, a lot of people say put them in an island and let them just figure it out, right?
That's how Australia started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like Australia started as a. I thought they
were going to do this. Is that for real? I'm not a historian here. Or whatever
Australia started as a prison colony. And that's where I think England used to send like the people that was running afoul of the law. It was like a giant Rikers Island. And between point A and point B, they got, got their lives together. Yeah, I was actually baffled, when I learned that. You know what I'm saying?
And their youth is good over there?
The youth is, I don't know. I don't hear about, the crime in Australia as much as I hear about the crime in Atlanta, the crime in Chicago, the crime in LA. America, period.
That's our cities. Do you have that kind of news in your, I don't know. Do you watch that? Even if you had it, would you watch it?
I want to get back into a regular rhythm of watching not only just local news and not just American news, but world news. Because, we put a spin on everything here and we omit certain things. Like we kind of just tell the version of the story that we want the people over here to see. That's why I rock with the BBC and Al Jazeera. But I don't think Al Jazeera is still a thing anymore. But I could be wrong. I didn't fact check that.
Al Jazeera.
That
sounds like that's one of your friends. Second of all, I thought we killed them.
No, you're thinking about like the Taliban and them. Al Jazeera.
One of them was named that.
I mean, like, okay, I'm sitting in front of a whole computer right here, so I guess I could utilize it for the forces of good and not porn, right?
No, it's fine.
Jazeera.
We could leave. Okay, so that's a TV station.
TV network. I just want to make sure because I don't want to be like out here talking out my ass and be like, yo, it's not even a thing, fam. You'll see it. Al Jazeera. Oh, it's Al Jazeera. Right? Al Jazeera. It's a website, and for those that want to know, it's an independent news organization funded in part by the Qatari government, and it's been rocking as a thing since 2006.
Are you sure you're pronouncing it right?
Yeah, Al Jazeera.
The way it sounds like it would just be like characters.
No, I used to legit watch this on a regular basis because I felt like the way they delivered the news was a little bit different. And I feel like a lot of our news outlets over here in the States, we kind of skew things, omit certain things. We always make us look like G.I. Joe. Al Jazeera be like, yo, Americans killed 15 teenagers today trying to bomb and kill a terrorist. We won't talk about that on our news here. So I used to always like to get, the real facts.
We talk about it now. But...
I mean, here we are. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, with that being said, okay, yes, we do have violent youth, but also we have soft young kids. And I blame the fact that they took dodgeball out of schools.
That's it. That's the one.
That's
Dodgeball.
that's where it
Dodgeball.
started. It's where
It
it
fucked up the
started.
whole world.
It's where it started. It's you know like how you have like a whole domino thing and you knock down the first domino and they just go.
Was the dodgeball come before or after that whole, and I don't know what presidency it was, but didn't they put something in law where like no kid left behind type situation?
Yeah, no child left behind. I think that was like Bush era.
Was that
George W.
I'm not gonna age myself. I don't know.
Because we played dodgeball in my school, and we also used to have fist fights too.
But I mean, but was it before or after the no kid left behind?
I was pre no kid left behind. It was definitely about leaving niggas behind when I was in school. It was about it.
Well, then I think it started. Then I think it started. Kids started being soft then. I think, and the whole parents allowing that shit. Nah, like if my kid needs to take third grade or second grade over a few times, then I mean, honestly, it's probably.
I wouldn't call that like when the kids got soft. I would call no kid left behind like when the kids got dumb. You know what I mean?
Because like,
even with my oldest, right? When he was going through middle school, he didn't always go to the best school, right? I had to eventually put him in the better school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was in school with like some bad kids, and then when the next grade like popped off, he was like, "Yo, man, I'm in school with kids who ain't supposed to be there." You know what I mean? Because he knew that they were terrible students. Their grades was in the trash. They definitely didn't go to summer school. But that no kid left behind thing just kind of pushed people ahead, whether they was failing or not. You used to have to be able to be afraid of something. You know what I mean? Like, like when we was in school, we were afraid of possibly not passing.
Right, getting your ass whooped.
Hell yeah!
I don't condone violence, but. Man, I grew up with getting my ass whooped by my folks, and I'm good. At least I think I am.
Like, I mean, like if you had to count how many ass whoopings you got, like growing up, how many would you say there were?
Quite a few, but I think the one that sticks out the most, there was a few that stick out the most. There were some objects. One in particular.
So they would just like find anything they could beat you with, like a wrestler in an anything goes match, and just go for it.
Yeah, and that was off of just talking back. Like
a
vacuum cleaner pipe.
And how many times did you have to get hit with the vacuum cleaner pipe before you realized that, hey, that's not something that you like really thoroughly enjoyed?
Not only was I older, so I should have known better. I think I realized it when my mom was kneeling next to me praying and apologizing that she did it. Yeah.
Oh, so the instant ask for repentance after the punishment. Yeah, that's wild. Like, I only got like one beating ever.
Oh, you're a good kid.
No, it wasn't that I was a good kid. I just wanted to make it a point to never get caught doing nothing dumb again.
That's being a good kid. You didn't get caught.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. And it's not like my mom issued out like a Passion of the Christ style beating, but I was definitely interested in not like getting beat again. Like, oh man, this shit wasn't fun. And 60 Minutes was on while it was happening. And to this day, I still don't watch 60 Minutes because of it.
Oh, you got trauma from that? Man, my parents used to tell me stories about how their ass beatings were in PR. So I guess it wasn't too bad getting hit by like a chancla or you know what a chancla is? Or
a slipper. Nah, like all my Latin friends, for whatever reason, they all got beat with chanclas. Like I think that was like the weapon of choice in the Latino community.
That's like a boomerang, the belt. I mean, really, honestly, it was I knew better because my dad had that look, that look like, don't you move, don't you say nothing. But it was more when I got older and rebellious, and we moved out of certain areas, and the kids were allowed to do more things because they didn't look like me.
Got you.
So I, that's when I felt like, hey,
so
I want to sleep over somebody's house. I want to go to the mall.
Okay. But are we saying that these were like double-digit number amounts of beatings that you received growing up?
I would not all of growing up, more as an adolescent. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, like early, like onset of teen, like a little bit into the preteens and definitely into the teens until they realized, oh shit, she might be able to hit back. Never did,
Okay,
but
but
yeah.
you're still ballet dancing around the answer. Like, how many beatings did you get throughout life? Like, no one's gonna take you from your parents. No one's gonna call CPS. I think we're a little bit past that. Like, how many
CPS?
beatings did you get?
What's
Child protect
CPS?
Child Protection
Oh, is that
Services.
what it's called? I
Yeah.
thought I thought it was something else.
And
I don't
yesterday's
know.
probably Chicago Police Squad. I don't know, but
Hmm.
like from where I'm from, New York, it was CPS
Oh,
or BCW, Bureau of Child Welfare.
yeah, I don't know what it's called. Um, yeah, more than a handful, probably. But again, I was
Man,
older.
man, like they beat you so much, you got reset. You don't
It was,
even know. Like,
I
goddamn.
was I was older. I think they felt like, hey, they could control you when you were younger with just, taking things away or the look. But when I got older, and yeah, it was different. Under definitely was 12, 11, maybe. Um, from around that age and up, they realize, oh shit, like they got to find other ways. And old school, like switches and belts and words and taking things away didn't necessarily work once you start making like your own money and you're working like babysitting or dog walking or something.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I think like once you're like old enough to get in a car and start it, I think we're beyond the point of like maybe you shouldn't be getting beatings anymore. But
But no, that's when they started though.
wow, okay, you're like a late entry. It's like now I can fight you like an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like I can lean all the way into the punch if I
Right.
want to. Like that's why like I wasn't really like a beater, right? Like but I will mush the shit out of a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm big on mushing. I'm big on like like the chest, like the like the like kind of like I use my arm as a javelin, because I got all
Oh,
boys. You know what I mean? So
oh,
every now and then you gotta let them know, like, shit ain't sweet over here.
yeah.
I ain't one of your little friends in the street. But
Hmm.
there is a lot of people who have like, gotten in trouble for like trying to properly discipline their kids. And that's another thing that kind of made people soft, like because the kids now be running like certain people's houses.
Yeah. But see, I wouldn't even call it a beating. Like my parents, I don't think any parent today, obviously, nobody gets a manual. We don't know
Mhm.
what the fuck is, we do what we know. And some of it, it works, some of it doesn't. I wouldn't call it a beating. It was tough love. And I'm actually feel like I'm better for it. So, um, but yeah, soft, that wasn't my era. Soft was not my era. That was not something that, yeah, yeah, generation to generation, I don't think they we did anything soft.
Got you. Yeah, see, like, for what like where I was coming from is like the streets were so aggressive that, like you just kind of wanted your home to be like a safe haven where no troubles lied. So like I just like, hey man, like I'm gonna stay out of trouble. I ain't gonna like I'm gonna stay out the way. You know what I mean? I ain't with none
Oh,
of that
the
smoke.
streets where I was at was bad too.
I believe it, but but you also like, you also made it to the burbs kind of early.
What's early?
You tell me.
I made it to the burbs after a few jumps, like at school bathroom, beating, just fights and shit.
So this sounds
And
like middle or high school.
this was about middle school, and
Okay. So you
and
made
my
it
parents
to the
decided
burbs
that,
early.
yeah, my parents decided at that point, you know what, let's move. So they moved to the burbs, yes. But you know what happens? You bring that to the burbs.
Oh, absolutely. No, I definitely was a person who had one foot in and one foot out of the bullshit. Like, he's like, yo, because every time I would like change where I lived again, because like, I'd be like one parent one year, another parent another year. Now this year I'm staying at my grandmother's house. So like, I always just brought a little bit of wherever I just came from to where I was going next, with the exception of bringing the burbs back to the city.
Right.
Like once you go back to the city, heads on a swivel. You know what I'm saying? You trying to figure out what the new rules, like, how people sticking up people now this year. You know what I'm saying? And
I
like,
had different fights once we moved to the burbs because I didn't look like everybody else. I looked much older for my age. I didn't sound like everybody else. It's just different. It was very different.
yeah,
The community I lived in, or at least went to go live, was at that point um, a very huge Caucasian Jewish community. And I was like
Gotcha.
one of the first Hispanics to move there. Don't know how my parents did it to this day. I'm like, yo, but a lot of parents around that time are trying to do the same thing. So they, moved to places like that. And if they could, and my parents were fortunate enough to be able to. So now I had a whole nother set of, things to battle. In the city, I was battling gangs and walking the streets and getting in that. Now I have to battle a whole different demon of I don't look like them, I don't speak like them, I don't behave like them, and they may or may not like me.
I had a similar situation, when I moved to Texas for the first time. Cause
Oh,
people in Texas was talking like how people in Texas was talking, a lot of y'all and, like, I'm gonna go wash my car,
oh,
like stuff like that. Well, the R was a little harder in that second part, like it was from like South Central, but but they had a thing. And me coming from New York, I had a thing. And then I'm also used to seeing a more diverse color palette of people. You know what I'm saying? So you go from being like in New York to where like you have like, Haitians, Jamaicans, Africans, regular blacks, white people, Irish people, Italian people,
right.
Puerto
You
Ricans,
got a melting pot.
Dominicans. Yo, so when I get the text, I'm like, where are the Puerto Ricans? Where are they? And then when I met my first Mexican,
Okay.
I thought they were Puerto Rican.
Oh goodness.
And then I was like, nah, like it's different Spanish, dude.
You got to be careful with that because not everybody appreciates that. I
They
personally don't care because my family's a very well blended family, and that when they moved to the area, it was what it was at that point. It then became a huge melting pot of more people, but that didn't go without adversity, and
right.
adversity then came from the community and the police and again, they were trying to control what they didn't know before. And now you have all these people that don't look like them. Anyways, long story for another time, but yeah.
Indeed. So, so we talk about the times where we come from to where we're at now, right? Like
Mhm.
parents can't really like, like lean in on the kids like they used to back in the day. And not saying that like, we're saying we're pro like snuffing your kid, but there are so many things that kids don't have to deal with that we had to deal with. Like, the No Child Left Behind situation, even, that participation award, everybody gets a trophy just for showing up. And we was talking about something on Dish Nation the other day about how, they got the Oscars and all these people got nominated. And then you got the flip side of the Oscars, which are the Razzies. And the Razzies are the awards that they give to like what they consider to be the worst in entertainment that year. And it was a young lady who goes by the name of Ryan Kiera Armstrong, who played the lead in the Firestarter reboot that came out in 2022. And she was up for a Razzie Award for her role in Firestarter. Now, she was 11 when she made the movie. She's like 13 now. And all this public outcry came out, and it was like, you can't give her a Razzie. She's only 11, or she was 11 when she made that movie. It's not fair. You can't do that to a child. And it's like, motherfucker, yes, you can. Because, like,
Wait.
not everybody does a great job at everything, and it gives you a reason to get better.
Right. Okay. So let me see if I heard you correctly. This is awards for not so good stuff.
Yeah, like the movie Catwoman, I think swept the Razzies the year it dropped. People hated that movie, and they also usually like to give them to Adam Sandler as well. Even though I feel like
I like him.
Adam Sandler does good movies. Niggas just be hating, but but anyway, so they now have now she's not gonna get any award.
Okay,
I would like to think that Razzie would be better than not getting anything.
So we deem her right to be capable of working because I'm guessing she's getting paid for, she's an actress, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave her an award because she's not, because she's not good.
When I was watching the movie, at no point did I feel like, damn, this little girl terrible.
Okay.
I felt like the movie was terrible. There was a lot to unpack in the new Firestarter movie. You had Zac Efron's new chin. And then you also had the fact that this is a remake. It was just a lot going on in that film.
So they gave her an award because she's not that good, and people got mad.
Yeah, people got mad because they had nominated someone who is under the age of 18 for a Razzie Award. So now they have a rule moving forward that nobody under 18 can be nominated for a Razzie Award because it's mean. But here's the thing, Hollywood is mean. There's terrible things that happen in Hollywood.
What are we preparing this actress and actor like? Yeah, it's mean. It's harsh. It's tough out here. Life ain't fair. Like, yo, this is part of growing up. So, I mean, it's criticism. I mean, it's a special form of criticism to get a trophy for being sucky at something. But I mean that's like in real life. That's like you don't get a bonus. You don't get if you suck, you may not. Your credit is fucked up. You can't get this. You can't get that. Like, it's a lot that could be learned from it. Maybe this would be a wake up call. Maybe she isn't necessarily in the right field, or maybe she needs to pick up a few things. Like,
man, I wouldn't even lean on it that hard. Like, my stance on it is these are a bunch of stupid people with opinions that, like, vote on the Razzie Awards. Because, once again, there's a lot of movies that get nominated that I thought didn't deserve to get nominated that were actually really good movies. And there has been situations where some of the people who actually won actually went and accepted their awards and then we're still getting nominated for like other types of awards for the same movie like that year. Some people just take it all in stride because it's just a big joke. So now you stupid people have robbed this young lady of getting any type of trophy because she definitely wasn't going to get nominated for the Oscars for that, for that type of movie. Not saying that she did a bad job, but like Firestarter is not going to get nominated for an Oscar, and it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. So guess what? You woke ass people. The only award she probably would have gotten this year, she's probably not going to get it now, and it's all your fault.
And at this point, she's old enough to be aware of some of this news. So now she even knows, like, if you're trying to save her from something, it doesn't matter because she probably she could read it and see it. She's 12, you said 11 or whatever.
Now she was 11 when she made the movie, so now she's like, I think she's either like 13 or 14 now.
Oh, that's
right?
stupid.
So thanks society, you told her she's not even good enough to not be good enough.
Right. Like, well, if you can get. Okay, so going back to participation trophies. So, this is just confusing. So we can give trophies for no effort, and there's effort, but it needs improvement. Let's not give her a trophy. Okay.
And let me fact check, but I don't even think the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards nominated her for anything. So
yeah, but do they do things for like bad?
No, they don't do nothing for bad movies, but you know what I'm saying? Usually if there's a kid in something or somebody who they recognize as a peer, they'll kind of look out. But also that movie came out during a time of COVID. So, I mean, a lot of people didn't see it. I think it went straight to streaming, that kind of vibe. So, yeah, congratulations. And at the end of the day, I think, you should be able to reward people for not being great. You also should be able to not give people rewards because they sucked. Okay? And they need to bring back dodgeball in school because these kids is getting slow and their hand-to-eye coordination and shit.
They need to take back No Kids Left Behind and I don't know. Do we take back timeout?
I've never been a timeout kid. I wish somebody would have told me to go stand in timeout. Huh?
Oh, do you put yours in timeout?
No, I'm black.
Okay, never mind.
It's like go to your room and turn the TV off. You know what I mean? Give me your phone.
I think that it definitely took away like some of those things that we just talked about. It took away the fear of authority. And when I made mention just earlier about my father and that look, that look was fear of authority. Like he did that look, and I feared the authority in him, the father that he is, and that's what we've taken away. And then we wonder why they're running around not seeing no one. I mean, there are other reasons, but seeing no one as a 30, they're not afraid because we've not instilled anything for them to be afraid of. I mean, to this day, I'm still afraid of my daddy. And, we took all of that away and we made it like um, we made it very, very soft, and and it's crazy. But
It's
fuck
weird how that works though, because I know a lot of times, especially women are typically afraid of their fathers. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they were young, because like he's that authoritative figure. You come home from work, might be a little grumpy. You know what I mean? That kind of vibe, and you don't want to, you don't want to disappoint that guy or piss that guy off. My whole thing growing up is like I never wanted to disappoint my parents, and I never wanted them to bail me out. So if I did do some dumb shit, you're not gonna catch me doing it or make it look like somebody else did it.
right.
Even on the No Child Left Behind tip, I don't think in my head, second grade didn't go as well as I would have hoped it for. So when I got my report card, I threw it off the bus on the way home. And to this day, I don't know how well I don't know how I did that year.
Well,
And
Gabby, you made
and
it
then
out.
well, the very next year, I went to a different school, and this is like the 80s, so you could just say anything. Like, yo, you're supposed to be in the third grade. And then boom.
Right.
The 80s was so loosey-goosey that they put me in school a year early.
You know, another thing that we're kind of soft at, latchkey kids. I mean, shit. I remember having to let myself in and figure it out for a little bit before somebody made it home.
And how old were you?
Not old enough to be left alone and figuring it out.
Man, like, yo, you talk like you're scared of like someone taking you away from your parents, like right now. Like, how old were you?
How old are you allowed to be by yourself?
I was like 4.
You were doing they no no.
And I was 4. They would leave me home by myself, and we lived in the fucking Bronx. And also when I was 5, they would give me a note and money, and I would go to the store, Dolo, and I would hand the note and the money to Poppy that worked at the little the bodega or the little grocery store. They put everything in the bag, and I run it back to the crib.
Yeah, we couldn't do that today. Mm-mm.
But it's weird how you can't.
First of all, I don't think the kids today know. I don't think the kids today know how to give back change or get back change or understand what they're supposed.
Well,
They
now
gotta do that special math.
you gotta just walk up and just tap your phone. I feel like it's easier than ever before. Right. Or now you probably like Instacarting it. But man. But
Yeah.
but so me thinking about the things I was doing when I was 4 or 5, and I look at my 4-year-old, I don't trust him to like chill in his room by himself.
I don't think I was 4, but I definitely was a little older, but not old enough for whatever law it was to be left alone at that time. I think that probably has increased, but yeah.
Most people that I talk to tell me that what I was probably doing, or like what my parents was letting me do, might have been illegal. But
definitely,
it was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was a time where the neighborhood kind of watched out for you too,
But it was also one of the most dangerous times ever. Like, I don't know. Having not lived in Chicago, I don't know what the territory was like in 80 whatever the hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
New York was ill. New York was on a weird, especially the Bronx. I lived what I considered, and what a lot of people consider, a nice part of the Bronx, because like back when I used to live at Tracy Towers, if you live there, like, oh man, y'all doing it. But the drug era, like when crack and freebasing came out and everybody's parents was out getting high, the dynamics of the neighborhood started to change a lot. And but they didn't fuck with little kids. So I think that's how we was able to make it and be okay. Like they let the little kids be alone. Now, if you was a teenager, you probably got into some shit and you got into some problems. Because like I had more issues in New York as a teenager than I did as a preteen.
Well, there was street laws, and I know this, and we can go into it during another episode. But there was loyalty. There was OGs that we call them that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Monitoring shit, and there was a code of conduct. And the code of conduct is, you don't mess with the young kids, you don't mess with the old kids. I mean, it's just different. Streets were different back then than what they are now.
Yeah,
there was still a sense of pride, even though you belong to something that by all means was doing things that it shouldn't. There was still a code of conduct, and there was a way to behave, and Now that's just that none of that exists nowadays. But anyways, yeah, that was it was a whole different era. So even though the kids are walking in neighborhoods that somebody's just dealing right by them, they the kids were going to be okay.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is,
It's crazy.
it's kind of come full circle because the last time I went to New York and I was in Harlem, like I saw like definitely like an uptick in like white people being there and the kids walking down the street, and
Mhm.
definitely people were still outside selling drugs via bike, and everybody was just minding their own goddamn business. It
Yeah.
was interesting. It
Yeah.
almost felt like the 80s all over
Oh,
again,
wow.
which
Mm,
could be a good or bad thing because
mm,
it started okay and then it got weird after a while.
right.
But the crazy thing is like even like the ways that crimes are being operated on, or not operated on, but the way criminals are operating. Like, like back in the days, like, stick ups was heavy. And in some places they still are, car break-ins or whatnot, but scams are like the new
Oh, high level
wave.
crime.
High level crime,
White,
anonymous faces, no
that white
contact
collar.
being made. Oh, you said
Is
what?
that,
What
was that because no, I was trying to like what category does that kind of crime fit in? But yes, there,
well, I
yes.
definitely consider it like white collar crime. Some of it could be cyber crime.
Mm.
I mean, have you ever found yourself a victim of a scam?
Uh, Many attempts,
Okay,
absolutely, many attempts. But uh, no, no, not me personally. I know people that have, but no, no.
you're lucky.
You have?
Um, in various ways, size, shapes, and forms, right? So, you spend any considerable amount of time on social media, you'll have things marketed to you, you'll have things,
Is that a scam or is that just good marketing?
well, depends on who it is. So, like, I've been scammed on at least two of the four rather major social media platforms. I remember one time on Facebook, it was like during the
Oh.
holiday season. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
may be scrolling up and down, you'll see an ad for something that seems interesting. And I remember there was this machine that would press your clothes and dry clean it for you. So it was like a personal dry cleaner that can, like, I think it could press and dry clean like 10 items in one time. And
Okay.
I was aware of the company that was making it, and I didn't see the ad from that original company for a while, but then I saw it on this one. And it's like, yo, we got it now, and this is the price. And I'm like, word? And I could get it in time for Christmas? Take my money, please. So boom, I paid for the joint. I got the thing in it. I got an email saying, yo, here's your tracking number, whoop-de-whoop. So a week or two went by because it was coming from China. And when it finally arrived, I opened my mailbox and it was in there. And I'm like, yo, this shit can't fit no mailbox. Pulled the envelope out, opened it up. It was a twist tie.
A twist tie?
It was just a twist tie, a bread twist tie. So
I
the
buy
fact,
that.
so the fact that it was being shipped and I had a tracking number for it, it kept me busy. Because, like, long as I saw the tracking number and the fact that it was moving, I think my thing is on the way. So by the time it arrived, like, boom, they already cashed out. They got my money. The site is now already down. And like,
Oh wow.
yeah, so I was able to press PayPal and get my dough back, but it was very frustrating too because I was looking forward to it. Because I'm a person who wakes up very early. I don't got time to like iron or do anything in my clothes. So I just wanted to be like, boom, fresh press, 10 outfits ready to go. Let's get it. You know what I mean?
I'm starting to dry clean at your house.
Yeah, and maybe I could do like a little side dry cleaning gig, like do dry cleaning for the people in the neighborhood. Same day Martinizing. Holla at your boy. You know what I mean? So I probably should like loop back and go to the real company and try to see like what's up with it now. Cause
Yeah,
I
like did you try to get your money back?
I got my money back. Big ups to
Oh,
PayPal. You know what I mean? Because like I do so much
oh,
business with PayPal. They're like, all right, man, like he ain't gonna
oh,
try
they
to
believe
finesse
you.
us. Yeah, they know I ain't gonna try to finesse him. But so that was one time. Then on Instagram, I got I was looking for somebody to do a cartoon because I have a concept for like a cartoon, and it's so dope because like a couple years later, I still haven't really seen no one with this exact concept yet.
Well, don't say
So
too much
I'm
then.
not gonna say shit. And so I wanted to get like the pilot done so I could pitch it with at least a working proof of concept together, because sometimes
Mhm.
people have no imagination and you got to show them everything just so they can get the full picture, especially when you're bringing something to the table they've never seen before.
Right.
So there was this dude who was like, yo, yeah, we could do that. We could do like a 10-minute pilot for like the Lowski Woski.
You're having this
And
conversation with dude on Instagram?
yeah, dude on
Oh.
Instagram, we talking on the DMs, whatnot. And this is a few years ago. Like if I said that this happened last week, then you can call me stupid. But this was like a few years ago before we knew how crazy like the Instagram scams were. So the so we're talking. He's like, yo, I could, like if you shoot me, I think initially he said he can do it for
Nah,
I'm
whatever figure.
I'm thinking it was like $500, right?
Oh, okay.
Which anybody who knows anything about animation, you'll probably be like, yo, what did you think you was gonna get for $500? But the guy had examples of his work online, so it seemed somewhat plausible, right?
Okay.
And he was also in one of those countries that for only 5 cents a day, you too could, or at least that's the vibe I got, right? So
Okay.
so we're talking back and forth
So
between
he's
point A and
getting
point B.
millions. Okay.
Huh?
He's getting the equivalent of millions.
Well, maybe, maybe not, because like, based off his name, it seemed to me that he was out of the country, but he was very adamant that like, no, I'm in Florida, Miami to be specific.
You know what Florida's like.
Land of many
Okay.
scams. So, so every now and then he would show me like a picture of something just to show me that some shit's happening and whatnot.
Okay.
And then between point A and point B, it's like, hey, it was a little bit more work than we anticipated. Can you send me like $250 more? So the first time I was like, okay, yeah, because I know what I'm asking for and I know it's very busy because I'm sending you like,
Mhm.
you got a script and I sent you like the character. I
Yeah,
sent you
yeah.
the character references and all that other stuff. So yeah, it can be a little busy, and I couldn't believe I was getting it for this amount of money.
Okay.
So like now we up to 750, and then a week or two goes by, and he's like, "Yo, we need like $250 more because like my animator won't send it to me unless I send him the money." And I'm like, "All right, wait a minute, nigga. The Yeah, you got to send me something, a 30-second clip or something before I
Right.
run you yet another dollar." So it was this big old back and forth and whatnot. And then I started, my spidey sense started tingling. Scam,
Mm.
tricketing, scam, tricketing, scam. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me do a whole bunch of things, try to talk to him on like different platforms so I can like triangulate where he is, get the IP address and whatnot. Man, this dude was in Lagos, Nigeria. So based off the IP address, I was able to get his like real name and find him on Facebook. And it was like a teenage boy with his brother, right? And any picture they took on Facebook, it looked like, you know what I'm saying? They was like in like the Nigerian hood, and like maybe they just got socks and shoes like this year off the scams that they did. And like, yo, God is just sending us blessings upon blessings. Nah, nigga, you scamming people. God don't like that. God didn't tell you to scam people. So I am trying to figure out a way to like get a hold of these people. Like, yo, and because when I feel like somebody's trying to get over on me, I turn into a goddamn psycho, right? So I'm like, who are the major gangs in that area? And maybe I can find one of those people, and for like,
No, don't say it. Just
but
make
no,
some things happen.
exactly. So between point A and point B, nothing happened.
Okay.
But I definitely wanted
Except
to
that
make
you build them a town. The roads came from you.
Right, but it's just so like, why do people have to do that? So, so you have those types of scams where, people will just like finesse you and just lead you on, and you keep giving more and more money. And then you have like these elder scams, which I don't know if any of your people ever been a victim to that, but that frustrates me even more than somebody scamming me directly, because when you scam an elder, they're on like a fixed income.
Yeah.
They probably paying for medication that's a little bit expensive, and it just truly makes my blood boil. And I'm in the middle of a sting operation right now with a guy who is like scamming, my grandmother. And my grandmother's so naive that she's not listening to anybody. And I just talked to one of my aunts yesterday about it, and she's like, "Yeah, I think she just sent him another $400 the other day, and now somebody from the church is involved,
Oh
and they're
wow.
tied up in this too." And she's not listening to anybody. So I was able to get the number from the guy, well, not from the guy, the number of the person that's been calling my grandmother, because I was going to call and act like I was like her attorney just to try to figure out where this money that she was supposed to be getting from him was going to be deposited. But when I called, he didn't pick up. And then another day when I was copying the number to put it in a people search finder thing, I accidentally pocket dialed him when I put my phone back in the pocket. And like, I guess he sat and listened for like 5 minutes. And then I pulled my phone out and hung up. And then like probably like 15 minutes later, he called me back and like, he was like, yeah, you won $2.5 million and a 2023 Toyota something. And it's like, no, like who gets $2.5 million on a Toyota?
Some of these things are not like that. That don't match.
Yeah, unless you just try to
keep... That ain't it.
Yeah, so like, all right, cool. So this is probably the same play you ran on my grandmother. I'm like, okay, I'll play your game. Oh, really? What do I have to do? You got to mail this money. You got to mail like $1,500 to this address that's all the way in Wisconsin. So once again, I am a psycho. So I'll Google and look up the address in Wisconsin. It belongs to an 89-year-old lady. And so I'm thinking, yo, maybe he ran her into the ground to the point to where now maybe he owns her house now. And this is the house that they have all the things get shipped to. And just to like make the operation look a little bit more legitimate. And it just frustrates me because I don't want this to happen to my grandmother. And it frustrates me even more that my grandmother isn't listening to anybody with common sense. And because I even sent her links that showed, hey, the same company that you say this guy works for, here's a list of people who have all made complaints about this company, that they have done similar scams to them and they have been taken for thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? Like my grandmother don't work. She's a grandmother. She's retired.
Right.
And a widower at that. So, you know, I am trying to figure out what I can do to wrangle this guy in and get him, steal on him once. Like, you know, I gotta get I gotta get mine in. I gotta steal on him one time for the culture. And then also like make sure he like, you know, somehow gets brought to justice because I like, you know, and you helped me with this. We reached out to the proper authorities. I even made a formal,
is that what you're supposed to do?
That's what I was told to do, you know, like, you know, because like, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
So, and then what? Well, like, are they able to help? Like, what happens?
I filled out the form on the FBI website like I was told to do by two different law enforcement agencies. Yes, the FBI, because it's an it's a countrywide thing. So this guy is calling, he's calling from like an 804 number. And if anybody wants to call it, just like fuck with him. His number is 804-724-5439. Just know everything he tells you is going to be a lie. 804-724-5439. His name is James. He's going to change his last name a lot. He's scamming elderly people and also me too. And I'm not elderly. I'm actually offended that he thought I would fall for this shit because I'm not an elder.
Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine how many elderly people that don't have someone like you or someone like your, you know, that's surrounding your grandmother, trying to minimize the impact, that don't have anyone.
Yeah.
And the like how he could be putting them in a really messed up situation, and we have to get the FBI involved in this. Like the FBI don't have enough to do. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult to get help with people that are, again, going back to like code of conduct, just overall, don't mess with the elder. Why? Like they went through enough. Let them do what they got to do for the last few years. Why would you mess with the elder? That's just, I don't.
And I feel like the FBI is like a very high coconut in the tallest tree, because I feel like, you know, the FBI right now is trying to stop somebody from blowing up Epcot Center, right? They don't got time for like for scams. There needs to be a nationwide scam division because there are so many scams happening right now in real time that no one knows anything to do about. And then also too, any federal government agency that may be listening, I am requesting to be put on the same special list that Kenan Thompson is on. I deserve to be able to have one kill. I've done a lot of, charitable things for the people. I definitely should be able to be given one kill. Why can't I just one person? Long as it's merited and justified. Like a vigilante, niggalante justice. Why can't I be a niggalante justice person?
That will be the next superhero. What?
I'm Black Panther's homeboy, the niggalante. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're gonna use it on the scam, on the scammers. That's the one you're gonna use it. That's
what if I could be I could write a series where I could be like Black Dexter and and I just beat to death people that scam people.
How do we? I don't know. Are there what do you tell? She's not listening to you. What do you tell any elder to do? Don't answer your phone. Don't answer your.
And I tried to call my grandmother last week. She didn't pick up, and I felt a certain way because she always picks up, and if she doesn't pick up, she calls me back.
So she's not picking up for you, but she's picking up for the scammers.
Right. So you done finesse my grandmother, I hope she ain't in love with him. It's giving Tinder swindler, and I ain't even seen it.
You know who's finessing some of my elders?
Who?
The lottery.
Okay, speak on it.
I'm just saying. You know how many elders religiously play lottery with the hopes?
I mean,
it's the same concept, to be honest.
I mean, but at least somebody at some point wins.
Yes.
There's a documented list of people who have won the lottery, and I also think that's foul too. Yo, man, I think if you win the lottery, you should be able to change your name and go off the grid. You shouldn't have to come forth and be public.
No, I don't think I think every state, you don't have to come out. I think there are states where you can be completely anonymous.
Well, I would move to that state the second I won because I've heard horror stories about yo, can I go pick it up in a mask? And they're like, no. But I did see a situation.
Got this stuff. Some of their ideas are way.
Oh my goodness! I mean, because just imagine you win it, just all of a sudden your phone about to be hot.
Yeah, there'd be a whole lot of people that are all of a sudden relatives. And did you know I was related to the 4th, 5th, 6th on your dad, Annie, brother's side, ex-married, removed,
all that.
Dog, he got his dog from no.
Yeah, I used to watch you when you was a baby.
You used to. That's why you just gotta not already not like people, so that when if that opportunity comes and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't everybody already know I don't like people. I don't like you, family included.
Yeah.
Well, very selective few.
Yeah, you gotta have that list be very narrow, but man, don't fuck with kids and don't fuck with older people, man. That's how hard is it to follow those rules? So with that being said, once again, the guy's name is James, and if you want to give him a call just to mess with his phone and make him think you're going to send him some money, his number is 804-724-5439. But don't trust nothing he says.
So FBI, you just got to sit and wait. There's nothing else. And I sound like such a hypocrite because, there's moments where I don't want government assistance in the sense of last week we talked about, I want to free the nipple. If you didn't catch it, go catch it so you can hear it. But, I want to free the nipple, and then there's restrictions as to this and that, and for whatever reason, right?
Right.
And that's a company restriction, I guess, even though a lot of companies follow the same suit. But when it comes to scammers and elderly, I want intervention. Somebody needs to stop, or at least make it easier for those that are trying to make it easier to report it and have it caught. In your case, you have a phone number, you have a name, you have addresses. Track that. You got enough that they could track.
It has been a week and counting since I filed my claim and nothing's happened. And this is the second time in a row that law enforcement has failed me. And I pay my taxes. And when I don't, you make me pay my taxes. So if I can't get the satisfaction of getting these government agencies in which my taxes help pay for to do some of the things that I need them to do, because I don't ask for much.
Right.
You know what I mean? What the fuck am I paying taxes for? Like there was a situation where somebody broke in my car in front of my crib. I was about to go get my gun and shoot this person because I was able to see where they were on my tablet, because the things have to be like, you to find my phone joint, and I'm seeing a person moving around. I'm like, yo, let me go, oh, I pay people to do that for me. So do the police only like stop and kill innocent black people, or do they like stop and kill criminals? You know what I mean? So I called cops. I'm like, yo, and it took them not too long to come and show up either. I was actually impressed. You know what I mean? Like I had a stopwatch. Like I was like timing a runner. They pulled up. I'm like, yo, these guys broke in my car. Yo, here they at. They right here. Let's go get them. Let's go get them. I don't have a gun. Let's go get them. And then they're like,
you ready to jump in the car and go get them?
Hell yeah, I was about to do a ride along 3. You know what I mean? I was ready to go. And they're like, yeah, see, like, if you look here on this map, once they get to this point right here, it's out of our jurisdiction. Ain't nothing we can do about it. So
are you serious?
Dead ass. It's like, yo, that's a problem for this other, like, areas subdivision, not subdivision, but it was a different area's territory, the next province over. So I mean, long story short, they got him, and then they ended up getting locked up, but they supposed to be paying me restitution, and I ain't got the restitution yet, and and they should be locked up because they haven't paid the restitution. But it's on me to call and be like, hey, I ain't got my $50 a week they supposed to be sending me to pay for the stuff they stole. And now they're gonna probably end up getting locked up again. And on one side, right, I feel like, man, why should I ruin somebody's life just because they like broke the law one night? But then I gotta channel the inner spirit of Bernie Mac.
Fuck the kids.
Yeah, fuck them. Because you gotta learn. Going back to the thing we said in the very beginning, ain't shit out here sweet, fam. You don't get a participation award. You do crime, you get punished for the crimes you do. And everybody in that situation, because you know who put those kids up to do it?
Who?
Their aunt. She was the head of like some sort of like child crime ring. And this chick had her nephews like breaking into cars.
Oh, it was a whole like family business?
Yeah, I think it was like an aunt and like 3 kids. So like the aunt should get double time, and the kid should do like the bare minimum of time when you do something dumb, but like they didn't get time. They just got like a pop on the wrist, and you got to pay the restitution. So I ain't got my money. So somebody need to go to jail or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's that or something? Like community service or something like that? Like what's or something?
If I could just like, if I could beat you up for $1,500 worth, like a $1,500 worth of ass kicking.
Yeah, we just saw a major ass kicking. I don't know about all of that. You as a civilian or the actual authority?
I mean, the cops are doing a stellar job, and I say that in the who can you depend on, because even in the situation that we're loosely talking about and around, like all of those cops were black, and that's not who we expected to go all out on us for. You know what I mean?
I don't understand. See, that's why I'm an equal opportunity like concern with just people. Mm-hmm. Because to me it's not evil comes in every shade. Evil comes in every shade and everything, like, and so I wasn't as surprised because of that, because of how I feel about it can come from anywhere. It literally can come from anywhere. It's a shame. But yeah, it was did you see the whole thing?
I didn't see the whole thing because like by the time I was going up and down on my timeline, it was just fragmented parts of it. But I mean, I know the story, like you've seen it time and time again, but that was the first time I've ever seen it be 100% us doing us wrong. But however, remove the uniforms, right?
Mm.
And we do each other dirty as people every day. They just were dressed for work while doing it.
Well, um, I have a very, very deep emotional not connection to
Mhm.
that uniform and to a black man being in that uniform. Um, I don't. That uniform does something to these people. That I talk about authority when it comes to just children being afraid of authority. Um, yeah, that uniform sometimes does more than it should to the psyche of those officers, and even becoming an officer is just is easy as hell. There are so many other things that take rigorous processes. Becoming an officer is very easy, and they see some things. And I'm not making an excuse for them, but
Mhm.
they see some things, and I don't know if they're debriefed. But they once you're in there, it tends to be kind of like a gang. Um,
Yeah.
there's a code of conduct, and it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It's a code of conduct, and they behave just like a gang used to
Right.
back in the day. So, uh, but I would love to talk more about that. Conversations about black men in those uniforms, um, and what happens. Even the other conversation that there was about police officers, and wasn't there like this female that was running quite a few relationships?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
She was part of the gangbang unit.
yeah, she sure was. Yeah. So I would love to talk more about those two topics mixed in a personal personal stories of
Cool.
my
Yeah,
life. But
let's
we'll save it for later.
yeah, let's definitely
Talk
take
about
it there.
relationships though.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, like, let's table it all because we about to hit the 1 hour mark. People's attention spans are short, and
right.
we covered a lot of ground in a seemingly short period of time. But as we embark on our journeys for this week, keep your head on a swivel, be fair and just, and fuck those kids, man. You got to be tough on them, so you don't raise little monsters who don't know how to act when they don't get their own way. Everybody's not doing a good job. Your kid is reading at a toddler level and he's 9. You know what I mean? Like, we got to work on things to get everybody up to speed. You know what I mean? It's key. It's key. Everybody's not doing a good job, and we all have to hold each other accountable to make each other present the best versions of ourselves through the little youth, through the little humans
Yeah,
that we create into it. It takes a village, they used to say.
we gotta do better for the kids, and obviously maybe that isn't necessarily the same upbringing we had, but there's got to be some middle. There's got to be a middle. I'm not Violence and beating your kids isn't always the right answer, but sometimes it really, I think, is about the kid. You have to take a look at that kid and be able your kid and be able to determine what's really going to resonate with them, what's really going to work. Timeout doesn't work for everybody. Spanking doesn't work for everybody. Taking things away doesn't work for everybody. So it's a collaboration of a whole bunch of shit that you just
Yeah.
have to figure out because you don't have a manual either. You don't know what the hell to do, um, except to kind of figure out what triggers them and start to instill some of that fear in shit. Like what should they be fear of? What should they be afraid of? No longer being with us in the presence, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because
I don't
mass
know.
incarceration isn't 100% the answer, right?
Right,
For every single thing. You know what I mean? Like, if
right.
you're robbing people, if you're out there committing murders, yeah, you need to kind of be put in the government version of timeout, which is prison and jail, right? But people getting caught with a little bit of weed on them, or people getting caught selling a small amount of drugs just to get by or whatever. I think there's a better reroute. Maybe you put them in a job course so they can learn, like, a better paying technical skill that can get them off the streets and really put their hands to good use. But
Here's the thing. And I want to hear what everybody else has to say as to what they may think is the best thing to do with the youth, right?
Right.
But I think one of the conversations I know I've had with maybe you and before, and I know tons of other people. I think you may have talked about it as well. But starting really, really early, I mean early, like toddlers, with coping skills, meditation, learning how to control your emotions, control them in the sense of not suppress,
Yeah.
but definitely understand them, understand how to process them, understand how to work through them, and not bottle. Yeah, especially men. I mean, you're, we have historically um, expected them to be strong and not show emotion, but allowing all that to be what it is and learn how to cope through it. But that's just one out of many solutions. So I'd be curious to see what everybody else would see
I
as a
mean, yo,
solution to the
shoot,
problem.
even in the school curriculum, man, like, we borrow so much from so many different cultures, but we like paint it and act like it's our own. But we don't look at what truly works for like really productive societies, right? Okay, so take a look at China, right? All right, China's government's really fucked up, like really fucked up. They probably won't even see this video because they're really fucked up. But the
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't follow none of it, but I do know that that's a common theme. But I don't know if the reasons behind it, but I know it's a common theme.
it's about control. It's about monitoring and limiting what people have access to and what they can see. Even I've seen videos talking about how TikTok over there, they show them a very concentrated amount of things, like people doing good and doing well, and and figuring out the ways to be the best version of ourselves. And pretty
Enter.
much, yeah, pretty much here on American TikTok, it's like Jackass, you know what I mean? And dances and goofy shit and non-racial, like coon shit, but for everybody, like white coon shit,
Oh,
raccoon shit, all types of shit, right?
okay.
Here in America. But China is like, yo, like people are obeying their parents and praying and being honorable. Like, we don't see that over there. And the fucked up thing is also that also could be Japan. I'm not sure which one runs TikTok, right? But the thing is, when you think about some of these Eastern countries, I mean, these Eastern places and civilizations, they have so much they have so many things in school that they teach their kids, as far as about self-control and just like quieting your mind and settling down and conflict resolution a lot better than we do over here in the States. And I think there's a lot of those things that we need to borrow from them and implement into the way that we teach our youth, because a lot of that stuff works. We're dealing with different times with more stimulation than ever before, and everybody's walking around so overstimulated that we have to do things to teach people to not have to require something in their face at all times, man. Like every time I see my kid with a phone in a hand, I want to kick it, but then I paid for it, so I don't.
Yeah, no, don't. But you know what? The craziest thing is you said all of that about borrowing from the other culture, and the first thing that came in my mind is the protests on
Culture appropriation.
Exactly.
And I hate that
Like,
conversation because there's a fine line between cultural appreciation and cultural, what was the word you was about to say? Appropriation. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you can't wear that Indian headdress. You're not an Indian. Okay, point taken. However, it looks very cool, and we wanted to represent and celebrate your culture. Now, if only an Indian high chief or a high priestess can wear this, I completely understand. Same way you can't walk around with an admiral flag on your joint if you're not an admiral, I understand. But certain things will be lost and never really looked at again if we pop somebody on the hand every time they want to represent and show love for it. Because like long as you're showing love and being respectful of people's culture and things that they hold near and dear to their heart, it's great. Now, if you're doing some goofy shit, you know what I mean, and like you on your Lone Ranger and Tonto shit with it, then okay, yeah, nah, you don't need to do this because you ain't rocking it right. Same thing with like somebody wearing a dashiki or a kufi. You know what I mean? If you're being goofy with it, then I'm gonna snatch it off your body. You know what I mean? But if you're being respectful with it, then sure it can rock, because there are so many beautiful things in everybody's culture that deserves to be celebrated, and and put out there for the world to be able to enjoy, without the fake ass woke people be like, oh, you can't wear that, that kimono, you're not Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, well,
Why
you
do you
can't.
call them fake ass woke people?
Because some people are fake ass woke. They just want something
Are
like,
they real woke people?
I need something to champion against. I need something to,
Are there real woke people versus fake ass woke people?
yeah, I think some people are fake ass woke because they want to be social justice warriors, and for them that's how they, I don't know, they get their rocks off. Like,
So who are the real woke people? Are they? What do you
I think
think?
the real woke people are the ones who are trying to enlighten and educate others about not just their view, but the whole world at large. Because it ain't just about you. There's something great being offered by every culture and every civilization. There's things that work. There's reasons why some people join Greek fraternities and sororities, because there's something there that serves a certain group of people who need that type of structure. There's a reason why there is people who feel like I have to go to the army because I lack structure and I need some level of discipline and I need to learn some skills. I know that's not a culture, it's a fucking job with a gun, or maybe not, but I'm just saying, like, people find the things that they find because they need them for whatever reason. There's a lot of people who go to prison and turn to Islam, not because they want to click up with a gang that'll protect them, but when you get into a place where like you have to slow yourself down and quiet your mind, and the only thing you got is God, that's when God speaks to you, when it finally gets quiet. So,
I think.
go ahead.
I think there's a key point of some of the things that you said that continue to be a key point that I'd like to understand and get to the bottom of.
Like,
What is it that they're looking for? That they are looking for it externally. And that's where I think that finding whatever coping mechanisms or finding and answering some of that earlier on eliminates looking for whatever it is they're looking for in an external manner. Like, we need to be able to be comfortable in our own with our own thoughts alone, and
yeah,
not all of these distractions that we tend to gravitate to, um, because we don't know how to be alone. We don't know how to be with thoughts. We don't know how to ride emotion,
yeah,
and truly ride emotion. Because there are people that don't that don't really ride emotion, and they manifest themselves in like really weird pain here and there.
yeah,
But that's the piece that I think, as young children and parents with young children, that don't know and don't have the manual that I said, I think they need to just understand, um, that you can't keep your kids completely distracted. Can't give them everything. You got to take, balance,
yeah,
and um, balance, and having them able to navigate however and whatever it is that they're feeling at the moment, and talk through it, and or else you end up with these grown folks that don't know how to do and how to be by themselves, and are looking for external family like feeling, or is it the family like feeling? What feeling is it that they're trying to get? Community? I don't know, but
yeah. Everybody's missing puzzle pieces different.
yeah,
You know, some people didn't have a father figure. Some people didn't have a mother figure. Some people feel like they just didn't belong to anything. Some people don't know how to, like, adults who don't know how to use their words. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, I'm frustrated and I don't know how to emote it, so I'm just gonna hit you. And we
right.
have to figure out better ways to communicate. And I think a lot of it does come from spending a lot more time by yourself. Spending time with no one is my favorite fucking thing to do in the world, because that's where my best ideas come from. That's when I finally get a chance to quiet my mind. And because, like, like every aspect of my life, I have somebody or something in my ear, so like I cherish those moments when it's quiet.
Mm.
Even even to punish myself as far as doing shrooms and then going to do acupuncture. And when you're in that dark ass room by yourself and all of your everything that's bothering you and stressing me out, to be able to deal with that in silence. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I've done it enough to the point to where it's easy. And it's not always comfortable, but we have to stop running from ourselves and running from the things that, scare us a little bit. And a lot of people are afraid of being alone, and they're afraid of the quiet. Sleeping with the lights on.
They're afraid of being quiet. And I would prefer preventive instead of reactive. So as you're older, you have to run from, but preventing it is learning way early, so that you're not running from it later. So that's just, we can talk forever about this topic.
Ever, man. So, yo, man, appreciate y'all tapping in for the second episode. If you missed the first one, man, spin the block, man. It'll be in the little box. You can click on it right over there. Once this one is over, more episodes to follow. And once again, man, our social media is on the low. I go by the name of HeadKrack
Anna Marisol7, Lucky 7.
And we're whispering out loud. Did you just put your breast in the window? What'd you do that for?
They've been in the window. I can't do nothing about this.